All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Raiders Daily. My name is Jackson. I post daily Raiders content, so hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you guys enjoy it. The Raiders made a ton of moves in the last couple of hours, and most recently, we actually saw a trade. So the Raiders, we'll talk about the cuts in a second here, but the Raiders trade Tyree Gillespie to the Tennessee Titans, evidently for a late-round pick. Currently puts the Raiders roster at 84 out of 85. So I'm pretty confident in the fact that I think the Raiders are about to make a big move. Now, keep in mind, it's August 16th, all right? A big move right now is completely different than a big move 2 months ago. I don't think we're going to see anything crazy. I don't think we'll see an Odell Beckham Jr. signing. I don't think we'll see a Demarcus Suh signing. But I think we'll see something below that and not that far below it. Now, this is just my hot take, but the Raiders released Demarcus Robinson today, Vernon Butler, Nate Brooks. I thought, when I first read that, I thought it was Nate Hobbs, and I almost punched a wall. I didn't almost punch a wall, but I did think it was Nate Hobbs, and I wasn't happy. Jerry Green and Tyrone Wheatley Jr. I'm not about to say none of these made sense, but I'm very surprised. All right, and I got to say, I would imagine DJ Turner's last preseason game against the Vikings is probably the reason for DeMarcus Cousins' cut is one of two things. Or I guess technically it's one of three things if we want to get logistical. Either DJ Turner straight up beat this dude out of the rotation where they're like, we got nothing for you, D. That happens, or he sucked, or they're about to make a big-ass move. Those are really the only three options I could potentially see. And considering who the Raiders have at wide receiver, I know it doesn't get that much deeper than Davante Adams and Hunter Renfrow, but I think considering you have Keelan Cole, who got signed after Demarcus Robinson, DJ Turner had a great game. DJ Turner's really been turning a bunch of heads. I don't think they're about to make a big-ass move at wide receiver. Now, not based off the Tyrone Wheatley Jr. Wave or release, same thing. I don't think that necessarily confirms it, because it doesn't. It's not necessarily. That doesn't confirm that they're going to go out there and sign an offensive tackle, right? Dwayne Brown just got signed. We saw Darrell Williams. I don't think that confirms that, but I think that makes that a pretty viable option, not because Tyrone Wheatley Jr. got waived, but just because the Raiders' offensive line is by far, guys, their biggest weakness. It's by far. I mean, if you stay up to date and if you are up to date, up to the news with Raiders content, with Raiders games, with just everything Raiders, and I ask you right now, what is your biggest weakness with this Raiders squad? Where do you see the biggest flaw on this Raiders squad? Every one of you, except a handful of you, is going to say offensive line. All right? So maybe they go out there and make an offensive line move. Maybe. I will say, Demarcus Robinson really confused me because I understand you have Davante Adams now. I understand you have Hunter Renfrow. Keelan Cole, Demarcus Robinson's, Mac Hollins, DJ Turner. As far as being a reliable number 3, how do I feel about that? Well, don't feel great. I really don't feel. I'm not about to lie to you guys. I'm not going to lie to you and say DJ Turner's about to have a breakout all-pro season. Because most likely, statistically speaking, that is not going to happen. That sucks, but it's the reality of things. I look at a team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right? You have Mike Evans. You have Chris Godwin. 2 very talented wide receivers in the league. So what'd they do this offseason? We have 2. So we're probably all set, right? No. What did they do? They signed low-key gem Russell Gage, who apparently is quote-unquote best wide receiver right now out of Bucs camp. But were they done there? No. They were not done there. They signed Julio Jones 3 weeks ago. So I don't want to hear a single thing about, don't worry, bro, we have DJ Turner. Shut up, dude. Not in a disrespectful way. But hopefully you guys get the gist. I'm obviously being very dramatic here, and it's not that serious. But how do I feel about Mac Hollins and DJ Turner or Keelan Cole being our third receiver? I feel horrible about it. I will not lie to you. I feel horrible about it. Whether or not, and it's not just Demarcus Robinson getting cut, right? It's not like Demarcus Robinson was going to save the wide receiver room, and the Raiders wide receiver room doesn't need to be saved. But I'll say this, and take it from a Packers fan. Devontae stays healthy for the most part. But this is something you need to think about. If you're the GM, if you're the coach, if you're associated with the Raiders in a coaching level or in a management level, you need to be thinking right now, what if Davante Adams gets injured? What if Hunter Renfrow gets injured? Do we have enough to either get through the rest of the season, God forbid they're done, or do we trust who's up next enough to finish the season or to finish the amount of games? Now, I'll say this real quick. With or without Demarcus Robinson, with Matt Collins, DJ Turner, Keelan Cole, etc., I feel good because you got to throw in Darren Waller, Foster Moreau, all the running backs that the Raiders have. I feel fine that the Raiders would be able to make up for a devastating injury at the wide, or devastating, wrong word, a short-term injury. I have full faith that the Raiders would be able to get through a short-term Davante Adams injury, a short-term Hunter Renfrow injury. I have full faith. But guys, this is something you need to think about not only in football, but especially in life. Things aren't always going to go your way, all right? You need to be prepared for what could happen. And so I don't want this to happen. And this is not bad juju, and I'll knock on wood. These are just things GMs think about. This is things personnel, players, management, everybody in football thinks about this. What if, and I'll use this as an example, what if Davante Adams gets injured week 4 for the rest of the season? Raiders wide receiver core is fucked. And it might suck. You might click out of this video. You might not subscribe. I don't care. That's the reality of things. The good news is this. Davante Adams doesn't get injured much. He's a longevity player. The Raiders aren't stupid. Derek Carr's a smart quarterback. He's not going to put him in a position where, he's going to be getting just wiped out every single catch midfield. The Raiders will be smart about this. But these are things you need to think about. Imagine the Packers losing Davante Adams week 4. The season's over. The season's over. It's not that serious with the Raiders because they have way more threats, way more assets on the offensive end than the Green Bay Packers have in Davante Adams' whole entire tenure. But it gets me thinking. I see Odell Beckham Jr. out there on the waiver wire. I see Emmanuel Sanders out there on the waiver wire. Emmanuel's probably not the best option. I see Will Fuller out there on the waiver wire. I see plenty of cheap wide receivers out there in the waiver wire. And if you're just casually cutting guys like Demarcus Robinson, Vernon Butler, who I was sure was going to have some type of impact on the Raiders this year, or Tyrone Wheatley Jr., etc., you're trading away Gillespie, you're dropping Brooks, you're dropping Green. It just gets you thinking, man. It gets you thinking. Now, take everything with a grain of salt. Form your own opinions, because at the same time, if Davante Adams or Hunter Renfrow really were to go down with a season-ending injury in week 4, you still had plenty of time to make a move. Right? You still have plenty of time to make a trade. You still have plenty of time to figure it out. If you don't want to make a trade, you have your personnel. Figure it out with the personnel. It's not that dire. But it just gets me thinking, and these moves right here, specifically with Vernon Butler and Demarcus Robinson, 2 positions where they're not my main vocal points like offensive line is, because the offensive line is going to be critical to the Raiders' success next season, or getting deep into the playoffs, I should say. I look at the wide receiver room, I look at the defense tackle room, and neither spot are looking bad, but those are 2 positions you want to be versatile in my opinion. So just my opinion out here, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We got super real here, man. I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm not trying to go at the Raiders or anything crazy like that, but I am trying to speak my mind here, and I'm not going to not speak my mind just to, get more likes or subs or what have you. So hopefully y'all enjoyed today's video, man. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. The most important part, guys, if you're still watching this right now, first off, I really seriously appreciate you. Seriously, man. I made this Raiders account when I was still in school back in April or May, And we've gotten over 3,000 subs, and people watch me talk about the Raiders, and it's just I'm just truly thankful, truly blessed. So I appreciate all you guys. If you're still watching, go ahead, drop some comments down below. What are your thoughts on the Raiders' moves today? And that's really it, man. Have a good night, good rest of your week, but I'll see you tomorrow, so that last part isn't really applicable.